Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Satrian. Thank you for joining. Today's live will consist of two parts. First is organized by the Diaspora Commissioner's Office, where the Commissioner will provide an update to the Diaspora on the latest from Armenia and Artsakh. Second part is a Q&A for the Diasporan community, asking questions to the Commissioner. The second part is brought to you by the Diaspora Action Center, which is an independent, non-affiliated, volunteer-based network of Armenian Americans, which serves as the bridge for the Armenian community in the United States by fostering collaboration and coordination for critical resources, action alerts, and community information in support of the Armenian American community across the US, Armenia, and Artsakh. You may submit your questions in the comment section of this live. Ողջույն բոլորին, ես Էլենա Սատրյանն եմ, շնորհակալություն այսօրվա ուղիղ եթերին մասնակցելու համար։ Այսօրվա ծրագիրը բաղկացած է երկու մասից։ Առաջին մասը կազմակերպված է Սփյուռքի հանձնակատարի գրասենյակի կողմից, ելույթ կունենա պարոն Zareh Sinanyանը, ով կտեղեկացնի վերջին լուրերը Հայաստանից եւ Արցախից։ Ծրագրի երկրորդ մասը կազմակերպված է Սփյուռքի գործունեության կենտրոնը, որը Միացյալ Նահանգների գործող հայ-ամերիկյան ակտիվիստների կամավորական ցանցն է։ Այս կենտրոնը ծառայում է որպես կամուրջ Միացյալ Նահանգների հայ համայնքի միջև նրանց համագործակցության խթանելու համար։ Պարոն Zareh Sinanyan, այժմ խոսքը փոխանցում եմ ձեզ, որպեսզի սկսենք առաջին մասը։
Շնորհակալություն, ողջույն, սիրելի հայրենակիցներ։ Ես երևի կներկայացնեմ նախ հայերեն լեզվով եւ հետո հակիրճ ձևով նաեւ համառոտ կներկայացնեմ անգլերեն լեզվով։ Նախ նշեմ, որ ամսի 27-ին, հոկտեմբերի 27-ին լրացավ պատերազմի արդեն 1 ամիսը, իրականում ամսի 26-ին լրացավ 1 ամիսը եւ պատերազմը իհարկե շարունակվում է իր հունով, չնայած նրան, որ արդեն երրորդ զինադադարն է կնքվել այս անգամ Միացյալ Նահանգների միջնորդությամբ։ Թուրքիան շարունակում է իր ռազմական ներգրավվածությունը տարածաշրջանում, տեղեկություններ ունենք, որ Թուրքիան 1200 հատուկ ջոկատայիններ է տեղափոխել Արցախ-Ադրբեջան սահման, որպեսզի հատուկ ջոկատայինները լեռնային մարտեր գործելու մասնագիտություն ունեն, բնական է, որ միտումը նա է, որ լեռնային տեղայնքում կռվեն մեր զորքերի եւ աշխարհազորայինների դեմ։ 3 ամբողջ օրվա ընթացքում ադրբեջանցի եւ թուրք հրոսակները շարունակել են ռմբակոծել Արցախի խաղաղ բնակավայրերը, ներառյալ Ստեփանակերտն ու Շուշին։ 3 համոզված եմ բոլորը տեղյակ եք, որ ադրբեջանցիները հրթիռակոծել են Ստեփանակերտի ծննդատունը, որը պարզապես հանցագործությունների ամենաերևի ստոր տեսակն է, բայց բնական է, որ մեր թշնամին ապացուցել է, որ ստորության որևէ մակարդակ իրենց վրա չի ազդում։ Այս պահին մեր զորքերը պահում են, այսինքն մեր դիրքերը Ղուբատլուի եւ Բերձորի սահմանի մոտ, թշնամին չի կարողանում առաջանալ, ունենք 1065 նահատակ զոհեր մեր զինվորների շարքերից, ինչպես նաև ունենք 40 զոհ եւ 125 վիրավոր խաղաղ բնակչության շարքերում։ Արցախը լքել է մոտ 90,000 բնակիչ, լքել են ստիպված, որովհետեւ ռմբակոծության տակ չեն կարող մնալ, ժամանակավորապես ապաստանել են Հայաստանի Հանրապետության տարածքում, ինչեւ որ մենք կարողանանք խաղաղություն բերել տարածաշրջանին, խաղաղություն բերել ամենակարևորը Արցախին եւ մարդիկ կարողանան վերադառնալ իրենց տները։ Նշեմ, որ 24000 արցախցի երեխաներ զրկվել են կրթության հնարավորությունից, սակայն իհարկե դա հիմա կազմակերպվում է Հայաստանի Հանրապետության տարածքում, ինչեւ նրանք կարողանան վերադառնալ իրենց տները եւ կարողանան կրթությունը շարունակել Արցախի տարածքում։ Մեզ համար ճակատում խնդիր է մնում իհարկե բայրակթարների եւ թուրքական ու իսրայելական դրոների առկայությունը, բնական է, որ պայքարը դրանց դեմ շատ ավելի արդյունավետ է դարձել, վերջին շաբաթվա ընթացքում առնվազն 10 թուրքական բայրակթար դրոն ենք ոչնչացրել, բայց միևնույն է թշնամին նորանոր դրոներ է գնում Իսրայելից եւ բերում Թուրքիայից, որպեսզի կարողանա շարունակել իր մարտական գործողությունները։ Մարտերը թեժ են հարավային ուղղությամբ, մանավանդ շարունակում են թեժ լինել, չնայած շարունակվում են նաև հյուսիսում, ներկայացուցիչի վրա, քանի որ դեռ շատ ավելի մեծ հաջողություններ ենք ունենալու։ Նշեմ, որ այդ դրոնները, որոնք օգտագործվում են հայ ժողովրդի եւ հայ զինվորի դեմ, չնայած Թուրքիայում են հավաքված, բայց իրականում արտադրված են հիմնականում Կանադայում եւ Միացյալ Նահանգներում, այսինքն այն մասնիկները, որոնք օգտագործվում են դրոնները ստեղծելու համար, component-ները, բոլորը կանադական եւ ամերիկյան են։ Հետեւաբար շատ կարեւոր ենք համարում մեր հայրենակիցների շարունակական ճնշումը այդ ընկերությունների վրա, որոնց բոլորի անունները հայտնի են, որպեսզի նրանք ընդհատեն եւ արգելվի ռազմական կիրառության համար օգտագործվող տարբեր տեխնիկական կոմպոնենտների վաճառքը Թուրքիային եւ Ադրբեջանին, քանի որ դրանք օգտագործվում են հայ ժողովրդի դեմ, դրանք օգտագործվում են հայ խաղաղ բնակչության դեմ։ Մի փոքր խոսեմ երևի զինադադարի մասին, արդեն գիտեք երրորդ զինադադարն է եւ զինադադար իհարկե ճակերտների մեջ եմ ասում, քանի որ երեքից ոչ մեկը չի պահպանվել եւ երրորդն էլ, որը միջնորդված էր Միացյալ Նահանգների եւ անձամբ Պոմպեոյի կողմից, պետդեպարտամենտի քարտուղար, չի հարգվում Ադրբեջանի եւ Թուրքիայի կողմից։ Տեսնենք ինչ վաղճան կունենա այն հաջորդ օրերի ընթացքում։ Սփյուռքում շարունակվում է հայազգի աննախադեպ մոբիլիզացիան, մենք զգում ենք հայերի օգնությունը, մենք բնական է շատ ողջորված ենք այն ֆինանսական օգնությամբ, որը ցուցաբերվում է Հայաստան համայնքական հիմնադրամի միջոցով, նաև իհարկե որոշ այլ միջոցներով եւս, բայց մենք քաջալերում ենք նվիրաբերությունները Հայաստան համայնքական հիմնադրամի միջոցով անել։ Նաև մեծ քանակությամբ մարդասիրական բեռ ենք ստանում Սփյուռքից, այսօր հազարավոր տոննա օգնություն է եկել Հայաստան եւ շարունակում է գալ, որի համար բնական է Հայաստանի ժողովուրդը եւ կառավարությունը երախտապարտ է, շնորհակալ եմ մեր հայրենակիցներին։ Շատ ենք կարևորում այն ակտիվիստական գործունեությունը, որը տարածվել է ամբողջ Սփյուռքով մեկ, մանավանդ Արևմտյան Սփյուռքում, որտեղ մեր հայրենակիցները շարունակում են իրենց բողոքը դրսևորել եւ բողոքն արտահայտել աշխարհի եւ կառավարությունների կրավորական եւ пассив կեցվածքի դեմ, ինչպես նաեւ բողոքն արտահայտել այն կողմնակալ մեկնաբանությունների դեմ, որոնք հաճախ հանդիպում ենք մամուլում, լուրջ կասկածներ կան, որ մամուլի միջոցները մի մասը նրանցից պարզապես կաշառված են եւ ներկայացնում են զուտ թուրք-ադրբեջանական տեսակետը, որը իհարկե չարիքի տեսակետ է եւ չեն ներկայացնում իրականությունը։ Իհարկե մենք այս պայքարում լուրջ դաշնակից ունենք, դա մեր Սփյուռքն է, որը ակտիվորեն աշխատում է եւ հակասում է թուրքական ստերին։ Երևի այսքանով ես սահմանափակեմ իմ խոսքերը, մի փոքր երևի անգլերեն նաև ասեմ։ Dear compatriots, it's been more than a month now that Armenia's eastern part, Artsakh, is under military assault by Turkish and Azeri troops, as well as various terrorist groupings that Turkey has exported to the region from Syria and Libya. Despite some territorial losses, I mean retreats, tactical retreats that our military has been forced to conduct, we're holding the line. Obviously, Azerbaijan and Turkey are using their technological advantage to make these gains. However, they really haven't made any gains in the last 4 or 5 days, and now that they're up against sort of the mountainous areas, especially in the south, they're having a difficult time making progress. And in fact, we are now gathering strength and intend to do everything possible and everything necessary to defend our homeland. We intend to reverse all their advances. We intend to punish Azerbaijan for their inhumane crimes committed against the people of Artsakh and bring this to a victorious end. This war is probably going to last for quite some time, but we're ready to it. The people of Armenia are committed to it. We have the will and the intent and the means to continue defending our homeland, and absolutely no intent to give in to the terrorism that is now being implemented against Armenia and the Armenian people by Turkey and its proxy, Azerbaijan. I want to stress that there are currently approximately 90,000 displaced or temporarily displaced compatriots that were forced to flee Artsakh. These are women and children that, out of necessity and out of sense of and fear of their safety, have been transported out of the civilian points in Artsakh, because those cities and towns and villages are under daily bombardment by large caliber artillery and by aircraft, by drones. Armenia, through the help of its diasporan brethren, is doing everything to make sure that these temporarily displaced individuals have no needs other than the need for, obviously, emotional comfort, having been displaced from their homes. And obviously the children are experiencing a lot of anxiety and stress because they're outside of their comfort zone. But such is war, a war that was imposed on us by the Turks, and a war that we fully intend to win despite all the odds. And because we have the determination to win, we have the willpower to win, we know what we're fighting for, we're defending our homes, and they don't. I do want to stress that yesterday, Azerbaijan and Turkey went so far as to bomb the maternity ward in the Stepanakert hospital, once again demonstrating how depraved they are and how inhumane they are, how they pose a threat to humanity in general, not just to Armenians. I want to once again stress that Turkey is making this part of the world a place where they can use Islamic terrorists of various kinds, especially from those areas in Syria that they are controlling, Idlib, and are bringing these terrorists from there and from Libya and destabilizing the entire region. So while we're really only trying to defend ourselves, we also find ourselves in the role of defending the civilized world against extremism, against the use of mercenaries and destabilization. Aid continues to be flowing at this point. Armenia Fund has been able to raise in the diaspora over $153 million. You probably saw the breakup of how the money was raised, and if my memory serves me correctly, approximately 44% of the money raised was raised in the United States, which is quite significant, and kudos to our brothers and sisters there. Humanitarian aid also continues flowing to Armenia, and here the balance of where most of the aid is coming from is certainly on the side of the Russian Armenian community. And I want to praise them, and I want to point that out because often there's this appearance that the enormous Russian Armenian community isn't doing anything for Armenia. Materially, in Russia, ethnic Armenian volunteers who are coming to defend their homeland. And this is a process that's happening everywhere. The French Armenian community is very, very active, as you're probably following and seeing that not only are they helping materially, we've had, I've lost count, 6, 7, 8 airplanes that have flown from Lyon and Marseille bringing humanitarian aid, but they're also applying, they're exercising their rights as French citizens and applying pressure on various European governments to not ignore this issue, not ignore this war, to realize that to realize that Turkey poses a threat to humanity and poses a threat of genocide against the Armenian people once again. I don't know if you saw, there was an incident yesterday on one of the highways in France where a group of Turks attacked Armenians with hammers and pipes. As a result, a scuffle ensued. An Armenian was badly injured, but so were several Turkish assailants. And yesterday, last night, the Turks gathered from all over France and Europe and went to Lyon and went on a fascist-like, Nazi-like march through the city looking for Armenians so they could attack them. So remember, we are dealing with Turks. These are the same genocidal, psychopathic maniacs, and they've been raised this way. They've been raised to kill Armenians. They're taught that it is their God-given right to kill Armenians and to fool ourselves and tell us otherwise, that they're peace-loving and is just irresponsible at this point. So I do want to end on a bright note, and then I'll take your comments. The martial spirits in Armenia is very high. The patriotic spirit is very high, despite the attempts by some subversives in the inside to disseminate panic and try to break our will. The will is there. The people of Armenia are determined to fight, defend their homeland, and prevail. So with that, Ellen, I'm happy to take any questions that there may be, and I'm obviously happy to answer those questions in either English or Russian.
So the first question is, we're now over a month in. Has anything changed in what capacity the diaspora can assist Armenia and Artsakh?
Ellen, how can the diaspora continue assisting Armenia and Artsakh?
What has changed? In what capacity can the diaspora at this point help Artsakh and Armenia?
Yes, thank you for the question. You know, some things have changed and others haven't. We still need continuous influx of funding through Armenia Fund, because obviously funds are essential at this point. We do continue needing material aid from the diaspora. What has changed is what specifically it is that we need for the diaspora to send to Armenia. There is an updated list that was updated by the various ministries and then consolidated by our office 3 days ago. So we disseminate that list and to make sure that folks aren't merely buying those things that they believe Armenia needs. I won't discourage folks from doing that, because that leads to a lot of wastage. It's a waste of your resources. It's also a waste of resources in general, because that has to be, and it creates logistical problems, creates an extra expense for something that Armenia doesn't necessarily need. So we do need the material support, but it has to be thought out and organized and targeted. We also need the continued local political action. Again, we're not directing anyone to do anything, but we're just encouraging folks to exercise whatever rights they have to the extent they want to exercise those rights, and defend their historical homeland by those means as well. And now, obviously, the major concentration of the Armenian government is on recognition of Artsakh as a political means of creating a certain status quo that has international connotations. So when you have a recognized state, it becomes harder for another state to attack them and to use weaponry against civilians. So the recognition of Artsakh's right to self-determinate and be independent, or otherwise determine their fate in the future, is a key and essential element of our policy right now. I know that we are all shocked, although some of us are less shocked than others, at how complacent the international community is, and that the Armenian people that were subjected to genocide about 105 years ago are today facing the threat of genocide, and the world is just as quiet as it was in 1915. So the morals of the world have not changed. We need to understand that. We need to accept it, And we need to build our approaches and strategies based on this very sad reality about the international community. It's all about their financial interests. All their claims about human values and human life are nonsense because they don't believe in it, because had they believed in it, they would have acted a long time ago. They haven't, because money is the only thing that matters to them. So I'm not saying this to somehow disparage them. I'm just saying this is the framework within which we function. And this is the reality to which we need to adjust and build our future plans accordingly. So having said that, obviously, in the US, for example, there are elections coming up. I think the community needs to think very hard before any Armenian casts a vote as to who they're going to vote for, because I'm also a US citizen, obviously I'm an Armenian official, but as in sort of putting on my American citizen hat, I'm discontent with either candidate, and despite sort of the improving statements by some of the candidates in the last 2 days, as a U.S. citizen, I don't find that sufficient. I think the statements are insufficient for the situation, for the type of threat that the Armenian nation faces. A friendly nation, by the way, I'll mention.
What are other diasporan communities doing that is different from activities in the United States, and what do you view as being successful?
So different communities are doing different things. It all depends on the environment within which they reside and within which they function. For example, in the Russian Armenian community, political activism is not the modus operandi. It's not the way you do things and influence issues. That doesn't mean that they remain idle, as opposed to the U.S. Armenian community. They are very active, but they're doing other things. So they're concentrating on volunteering for Armenia. In European communities, it's kind of a mix between the Russian and American community approaches. It's a mix of political activism as well as material aid. In the Middle East, despite sort of the limitations that exist there because of the environment where they live, and our initial fears that our Middle Eastern brethren would be unwilling to demonstrate, for example, and they've proven us wrong. Even there, the community is as active as they should be expected to, or more active than should be expected to. The only community that has to be very quiet and really be mindful of what they do is the Bolsahai community, which is under enormous strain and obviously would face an existential threat if they were to show any support for Armenia. But activism is very important, material aid is very important, financial aid is important as well. I also want to mention that volunteerism doesn't necessarily mean going to the front to fight. We have a large number of medical professionals that is coming from the diaspora because we are absolutely stretched to the limit with not only the fighting and the huge number of wounded, which results from that, but also the skyrocketing COVID rates. Yesterday, I believe there were approximately 2,300 new cases in a single day, and that's an astronomical number for Armenia, which really strains the healthcare system. And we need the help from the doctors and the nurses, and thankfully, some of our brothers and sisters have heeded the call and are coming to Armenia and helping, and these people are heroes because some of them are volunteering to go and actually operate in Stepanakert and Goris. Some of them are very good friends and people that we grew up with in the United States, doctors that, I don't want to mention their names so that they're okay, but I'm sure many of our friends that are watching this live also know and recognize.
What are the near-term humanitarian needs in Armenia right now? Where can we support from the diaspora? Medical, but... in addition to that?
Near-term humanitarian needs are medical, first and foremost, I already mentioned, and that's not only just the material aspect of it, so the equipment, the gear, sort of the material aspect of it that is required in order to do what it is that doctors do, but also the actual care itself. So we're talking about doctors and nurses. We need help with that. The other portion, obviously, is dealing with the humanitarian crisis that's resulted from having the 90,000 temporarily displaced compatriots, mostly women and children. In Armenia, there is a logistical issue as well. I mean, we don't have this is not an Armenia issue. Anywhere where you have a large influx of people that need to be housed, need to be fed, need to be clothed, need to be schooled, you do have crisis. We would love for people with managerial skills, with logistical skills, if they're willing to come and help take care of this issue as well. For example, we had one of our friends, again, a friend that many of us have grown up with, from home, Hayoknutian Miutyun, Los Angeles, who came over 2 weeks ago and intends to stay here as long as she needs to and help out with the refugees. So we do need help with that as well. If to the extent that there are more people that are willing to come and help, whether with the displaced folks or with the healthcare, we do encourage everyone before coming to contact our office so that we can direct them properly, so we can orient them and make sure that they come prepared for everything. So I encourage people to come and volunteer and help, especially in these areas. But before doing so, please contact our office.
How can the tech industry help?
A great question. We have enormous amount of know-how, tech know-how throughout the world, and we are several working groups have been formed to deal with the drone threat, and obviously that's a tech-related issue. But just in general, the Azeris are attacking Armenia's tech infrastructure as well, and the Turks are attacking it, attacking the internet lines, attacking our websites and everything. So there's a need for tech expertise. So those folks that do have that expertise and want to volunteer, the Ministry of High-Tech Industry has sent out a call for professionals. So please contact our office and we'll direct you appropriately to make sure that your skills are put to use in the right way.
So this one's a bit long, bear with me. There's a huge admin and org potential young professionals can provide. Though some people are registered as data analytics volunteers for Armenia, for example, it is understandable that due to security concerns, many may not be selected. Can you possibly map admin work that can be done remotely, and how we can possibly use our organizational skills aside material help?
Skills way to use organizational skills remotely, please let me know. More than willing to listen to it and implement it. But organizational skills are for organizing things on the ground. So if people have those skills, you have to be here. Or use your organizational skills to better organize the community or the efforts that are put out by the community, and be helpful in that way. So I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly. I certainly tried to answer it as I understood it.
There's a lot of energy that we're seeing in the diaspora communities, and especially in the United States. Each person really trying to do their part. What would you recommend to them to put that energy into, and how they would coordinate efforts better?
Folks, everyone has different skill sets. Everyone's good at different things. It is inherent that to that individual, and it's incumbent upon that individual to identify those skills and identify how best they can deploy themselves to be most useful in this war. It's war. It's bad, and it's against very overwhelming odds. So every person's effort needs to be directed properly and utilized appropriately. Otherwise, we're going to waste limited resources that we otherwise don't have. So identify what it is that you do best and how you can be best part of this struggle, and then deploy yourself, utilize your skills. Again, I want to stress a few points that Armenia is trying to achieve the international recognition of Artsak's independence. So to the extent you can help with that, do so. We're also in dire need of funding, and that's being done by the diaspora through Armenia Fund. So if you can help, please do so, whether it's through donating or encouraging others to donate, finding creative ways of increasing the donations or organizing fundraisers, and just in general, help organize. The more organized we are, the better we'll be at fighting and prevailing in this war.
For diaspora and Armenian students at elite universities and institutes in the United States, Russia, and Europe, who are collaborating with one another to draft policy proposals for Armenia, whether it be economic, public health, and business, to which governmental office should they forward the proposals?
Please forward it to our office. This is what we do. We coordinate everything that's happening between the diaspora and Armenia. So therefore, the answer is very simple. The Office of the High Commissioner of the Diaspora. I'm sure the information is most likely available on this chat, right? I hope so. Yes, my staff tells me that it is. And otherwise, you can look up our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Instagram page, our website, and get in touch with us. We will make sure that your skill set, your desire to be a part of defending your homeland is utilized in the best possible way.
Since we're reaching the end of the allotted time, I want to give this opportunity or take this opportunity to say thank you to you for spending time with the diaspora, and if you can give any closing remarks that you may have at this time. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you, and thank you for everything that your organization, Ellen, and all of our other organizations in the diaspora do to amplify our efforts and to multiply our strength. The diaspora is extremely important to Armenia because, as I stated before, it's more than a month that we were under assault by a monstrous coalition of Turkey, genocidal Turkey, dictatorial Azerbaijan, and terrorist groups from the Middle East. And the world is quiet for the most part. There are some half-hearted efforts by various governments to broker ceasefires, and we've seen each one of those ceasefires fail one after the other. And we, the Armenian people, are facing an existential threat right now. But we have something that they don't have. We have a national mobilization to defend the Armenian people against an impending that last piece of land and the last piece of space under the sun, which we've been able to retain after thousands of years of existence in this part of the world. Don't give in to provocations by Turks. Don't engage them online. Arguing with them is pointless online. It doesn't change anything on the ground. Concentrate on how your efforts can help us on the ground. The best way you can punish the Turks for their crimes, for the bombardment of Armenian towns and villages, for the killing of our civilians, for the killing of our young soldiers, is by winning and prevailing. And that's exactly what we're going to do. That's what we're concentrating on here in Armenia. That's what the people of Armenia are concentrating on. And that's what we need to do, folks. Keep up the high spirits. Don't give in to agents and provocateurs who are trying to spread panic and break our will. They're trying to do that in Armenia as well. They're not succeeding. I'm sure they're trying to do that online in the diaspora as well. If you ever confront anyone who tries to, talk about failure or talk about defeat, cut them off, ignore them, condemn them, because these people are trying to break down our willingness to defend ourselves and fight. They're trying to spread panic amongst us, and we shall not have any of that. We're strong. So long as we are not defeated in our hearts, we are not defeated. And we're not defeated. We believe in our victory. We are going to win. We have no choice but to win. And the enemy are the same disorganized and criminal gangs that we've always had to confront throughout history. We just need to do a good job of defending, joining forces, and making sure that the borders of our homeland remain inviolable. So once again, I want to thank everyone for everything that you do, and call upon you to continue the good fight, continue to struggle. This is a fight between good and evil. We must defeat evil. We must defeat it once and for all, and make sure that our right to exist as a people, our right for our culture to continue, is not taken away from us. So thank you very much. Have a good evening, and I assure you, Achtelung.